Hey everybody, thanks for joining us tonight. I don't know which live this is now, like the fourth or fifth. I think we're doing okay. We got a little countdown thing going on. So today we've got Bill Monroe with us, and of course Josiah down there at the other end. And in our last live we had Don New on, and we haven't picked a winner yet. I think we had a couple hats, a T-shirt. Gosh, what else was there? You know what? I can't remember, and I took all this stuff out of here, but bunch of great stuff. So right now we're going to have Bill pick a winner.
Okay, ready? All right.
Hopefully you can read.
I got two. Hold on. Oh.
Who's that?
I don't know. You had no sound.
Can you read that?
Yep, Mike. What does that say?
Mike Nemai Sr.
Oh, yeah.
Mike, you win.
Mike Nemai.
Send us a PM and then with your address, and we will mail you your winning. So congratulations, and that is awesome. Good job. So we also have tonight, before we totally get going here, is we're going to be giving away this stuff right here on the table on this side. We've got some products right here from Kershaw. I can't really say what's in the box, but they're from Kershaw. Good stuff. Some trocar hooks. I don't know if you've never used the trocars before. They have a special tip that literally cuts like a knife. It doesn't push its way through. It literally slices through. And they're excellent hooks. You could use these for bead fishing, drift fishing. And then right here, this is the Stubby Dodger from Silver Horde. It's a great Dodger. It's really popular in the Midwest in the lakes for coho fishing. Obviously, you can use it out here if everybody's kokanee, all kinds of fish. And if everybody's using something out here that all looks the same, try something different. And the Dodgers were popular for 60 years.
Ever.
Long time.
Yeah.
So we got this. And then this is for lake fishing, trout, kokanee. It's essentially, you put this out as an attractant, and then put your favorite spinner or spoon behind it with some corn maybe, and start trolling, and bam, fish on. And then we've also got some coon shrimp. Landon gave me this stuff. We were out for dinner the other night. Maybe you guys remember me posting that. But bottle of coon shrimp. Definitely wear the gloves. This stuff.
Yeah.
Glove on.
Coon shrimp season. Everything's pink. Coon shrimp season.
So, and I will wrap this in the Ziploc bag. I'll tape it. I mean, yeah, we don't want this to leak. I'll probably get sued by the post office. Wouldn't be good. So with that, we also have a derby coming up, right, Bill?
We do.
What's that?
Well, there's going to be two derbies this year.
Yeah.
We've got the Scappoose Boosters one that's going to be happening, but we also, later in the season, which is what we're trying to target, like late season, how we always get these early summer Chinook that enter into that lower Willamette. We moved the Spring Chinook Classic into middle May. And we'll try that from May 13th this year. It'll be kind of a nice little change. Ooh. Later season.
So it looks like May 13th.
That's right.
So how does somebody go about signing up for that one?
That one is an online sign up. We do it online through NSI's website. I don't know. What's the boosters entry? It's 105?
Oh, man. I don't know.
I don't know.
I got somebody called me immediately and booked that day for the tournament like a month ago.
Have to have that.
Yeah.
I think NSI's entry is available online, and you can do like PayPal to enter, and always the prizes.
I was there a couple days ago, and I know Liz is like buried, and I don't know if it was on there because I was looking for it, but May
13th.
Yeah, May 13th.
That's right.
Oh, I want to do that.
And usually she has like a big fish winner. I don't know. I'm assuming that
there'll be biggest fish
this year as well.
Most fish, and every team gets we draw for prizes for.
And see, that's on the
goodies.
That's on the fence too, because you're talking about the Lower Willamette, but the Columbia was open last year on May 13th.
I know. Imagine if it reopens.
And you're going to be there, right?
That's right.
And I'll be there.
Yep.
And Josiah.
I'm going to try and put a team. I didn't know. I'm in now. If it was
he might be there.
If it's open, if the Columbia's open again like it was last year.
Well, it's supposed to be good, so
Yeah.
cross our fingers. Right?
Just about everything we've seen so far up to this point, it's good. And I know it's early, and it's,
Well,
there's enough fish getting caught around that at least it's enough to pay attention right now.
Ed, that is a very good point.
It's enough to pay attention.
It's catching my attention, unless you're south of Cape Falcon and you got to deal with those southern fisheries. We don't need to talk about that. That's not what we're here to talk about. I'm good.
We can save that for a few more minutes, right?
Yeah, actually, that's a couple more episodes from now.
That's a whole episode. That's a whole week.
North of Falcon is just getting started, and it's messy.
So,
anyways,
so before Bill came in, he sent us some photographs going way back to 1962. I think. Is that what that was?
1978
put that
plus
one on there.
15. I mean, what is that?
The same
so
height.
Dude, throw it up. So that's Bill.
I'm still the same
You're the
height.
same height. Yeah.
Did you find that like on the side?
No, that is my bighorn ram that I got when I was 14.
Wow.
My first ever. My dad'd been trying for like 30 years prior to this, and he just said, "Well, I'm going to put you in just cause. We just go ahead and try."
So Central Oregon.
And we got it in the Waihi, the very furthest southeastern corner of Oregon.
That's deep.
Waihi.
That's beautiful back
Deep.
there too. So right here it looks like.
Oh boy.
Bob,
What else you got?
You got Bob Toman right here.
Oh yeah, back in the days, the man, the myth, the legend himself.
Is that Horsetail?
We
Falls?
spent a lot of time together, right in between Horsetail and Multnomah Falls, back when spring Chinook up in the gorge was really good.
So what were you guys fishing with at that time?
Oh boy, we were flasher and herring back in those days. We did like to actually anchor, and throw out a plug or two.
Yeah,
I mean,
quick fish.
Was he like
times
when you were there? Because I fished with his brother once. I never fished with Bob.
With Jerry.
I fished Jerry once or twice, but. Was he like that good? Was it like just awesome fishing with him? Could you tell something? Because I've gone with enough fishermen where I could tell something was different. Like this
That's
guy's
kind of
doing
like when
something.
we have Buzz on the boat and we gotta like have all this stuff, and then we gotta I'm gonna tinker with this, and then he puts it down here and kind of does something with it, throws it over, and then it catches a fish. Yeah, it's like
Bob loved his plugs, especially on the Clackamas.
Tuning those bad boys.
Oh yeah.
To the T.
He had 5, 6 real favorite spots that he would. Pound.
Oh yeah.
And he lived right on the river, so it made it
right
easy
in Carver, and there's this little push right now for speaking of Bob Tubman. We're trying to get with Clackamas County to see if we can maybe rename the Carver boat ramp the Bob Tubman Memorial Boat Ramp. It's just cool. We're just starting this initiative, and you know what? It makes perfect sense for me for everything that man has contributed to the Clackamas River.
So what do we got here? This looks like
remember back in the days when we had before the NSIA Spring Classics, we had Salmon Quest. You remember the Salmon Quest?
Yeah, that was the first
They were the creme de la creme of tournaments. Yeah. And
was Fisherman's involved with that?
Fisherman's was involved.
Kind of morphed into the...
And it morphed into the Spring Classic. Correct.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. I won that a couple of times, and that was really, really something. That's what got me really drive. Ooh, Spring Chinook. Love it. Special stuff. Well, they're kind of... Oh, look at that old guy.
There's Dad.
Here, look at that guy.
Look at that guy.
And we were anchoring in 4 foot of water, if you can believe it.
Let's stay on this one just for a few minutes because I gotta.
You got questions?
Well, no. A few statements actually.
Oh.
We can swap back and forth, but it depending on who you're with, where you're at. Everybody is Bill Jr. and Bill Sr.
Yes.
I know you're probably tired of that.
Yes.
I'm tired of it. I go to the show.
And you get...
And it's like, is Nick here? Is Nick at the show?
How about Nick?
Doesn't matter.
Are you Nick?
I'm here. Yeah. Anyway.
I'm Tony.
But this year, somebody came up and said, hey, Tony. Wow. And then other people will say, are you Nick's son? I'm like, no, I'm not Nick's son.
Oh.
And they're like,
no.
are you Frank's son? Yes, I am Frank's son.
At least you're
Nick
way
is
better
my
looking.
brother. Anyway, we got that out of the way. And I'm sure that cute. Bill is irritated by that stuff.
Yeah.
Granted, your dad's awesome. And,
yes.
And
I'm like, well, I'm not that old. I just wanted you to
I'll start calling you Bill Senior.
I'm gonna, yeah.
Well, I know you know what you have a booth at the show a lot.
All
right?
the time. Yeah.
I bet people come up and say,
Didn't make
hey,
this year.
Here?
Did not make the show this year.
Well,
we
went.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know
it was unfortunate. Couldn't help it.
It was pretty busy.
Attendance was really good.
I think people were excited to be back in groups and at the show, and we had to sit a couple out. The other ones weren't attended very well, but I was pumped. It was a blast.
And the parking, they were taking people out and doing the bus thing out in the outer parking lot.
Shuttles.
Yeah.
I think there was even a time where the building was full. They had to
you couldn't
turn
move
people away for a little while.
Was that a Saturday?
I think so.
Yeah.
Nice. But it was all good. A lot of people.
That's what it's all about.
Good times. A lot of people just like to go and see people that they haven't seen in years. So
that's my favorite. That's my favorite part. Just going to see
visiting.
But
look at this next photo. I mean, this is why people like to go. This is why people like to go outside. Yeah. This is cool. Where else in the world? I mean, sitting Bill up there in the front of the net. Do you know who they are? I mean,
that's my niece.
That's
cool.
And that's my ex-brother-in-law. Yes, and that is basically what we really love to do in the summer. Yeah. If you're fishing the flood at the buoy with all these other that's obviously the line right there. There's a line at buoy 10. You can't go past that. Otherwise, you'd see all the boats.
I just thought there was no one else there.
Yeah, it's in the spring.
Yeah. Cheat a little bit.
It's in the spring. There. Promise. Buoy 10 in the spring. You should get after it. Whew. No, don't do that. Anyways, I love that fishery.
Oh, gosh.
You fish a big flood like that. You saw all that heavy current and water coming rushing at you. Sick.
Oh, what do we got here? Look at this pig. I think I've seen this picture before.
Yeah, the good old 38-pound days.
Is that one of your
good
biggest?
Old 42-inch fish.
That's a big fish. Biggest fish, Northwest?
That is not my biggest one. I have one bigger one. I didn't send you that picture.
Mm-hmm.
I was really young when I caught the bigger one, and I didn't send it because I didn't know what I had back then. I was really young.
That's all good.
I know. But there it is right there. Shoot, it did make it.
Oh, there it is.
Look at you all pixelated.
See how old I am or young I am? I mean,
that's a tank.
I don't even think I was growing facial hair
That
yet.
thing's a stud. Where is that one?
That was 52, right out in buoy 10.
Wow. On the inside there?
That does happen.
Yeah.
Yes, that is an upriver bite. And I had no idea. I was just like, I got a fish right here. That was 46 inches long.
That's a big one.
A monster.
It was.
Those are coming back. I think those.
This year, you better watch out. I already warned everybody. We got 5 and 6 year old averages, and this is why we all switched out to 50 pound leader right here. That's why we switched out. Yeah. Anyways.
So what's here? This looks like
back in 2014. Mm-hmm. Well, that was 3 years after I started. No, 4 years after I started guiding. Yeah. Ugh.
Good old days?
I'm aging myself real quick on this show.
Well, you were only 12 when you started, right?
Hey, here's last year. We were hanging with Buzz.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so this one I slipped in.
Yeah,
there's you and Buzz with some big smiles.
Yeah.
Up above, we're all at Drano, I guess.
Drano. Yeah. We're in the toilet bowl, just outside of it, actually, because we wanted to come out. Remember what a mess that was?
The lake, right? Is that what you guys call it? The lake?
In the lake, or in the toilet bowl, yep.
So,
hey, did you know Drano's going to be an improved fishery this year too?
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
why?
Significantly, because the little white salmon has produced. It's got another big hatchery return coming. Yeah, and same with Wind River. Got a little improvement coming on for both segments of the above.
I've heard quite a few of the hatcheries had really good results. I was talking to another friend of mine on the way here, and he said that they were really looking forward to the returns. Really impressed.
Sure.
It's a guess to an extent, the educated guess, but they're looking good. Everyone's pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
I was shooting some video at the Bonneville hatchery, and it seems like usually when I go there, there's like 2 raceways going. I mean, this place is huge. It's like
huge.
A football field.
It's ginormous.
Yeah. I mean, hundreds of raceways. There were tons of raceways with water, with fish. So this federal money is kicked in, and they are raising a lot of salmon. Hopefully, a lot of steelhead. Well, maybe not there, but
this is what we need.
This is good news. Good things to come. Definitely.
I totally agree.
Save the whales.
I totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
If there's ever a thing, though, to say why we need hatcheries, we gotta save the
whatever
and,
it takes.
You know, we gotta sustain the humans' needs for this kind of stuff.
Definitely.
It's actually becoming really important.
So
I love it.
There's one more shot here. Yeah, this is out on the ocean with your dad again.
Yeah, classic stuff.
Nice. That's a nice
Yep.
chrome fish.
Remember, you said Dad was Buzz was using a spinfish behind a flasher,
Mm-hmm.
and he's doing really well. So Dad put one down, and he put it down to 7 feet on the line counter.
Oh, really?
Remember that one? Yeah, I remember that fish.
It's just right under the water.
7
I was at the
feet.
front of the boat. I couldn't hear what you guys were.
You were on the front of the boat.
Yeah.
Like, we need to get Tony a fish.
Hey! Anyway, hope I didn't hurt everybody's ears. So, all right, so
That was good times.
all the photos. So the NSI Derby. So you brought some stuff in here today. Some
Yeah, let's go over a
flashers,
couple of
some-
things. I mean,
Inline
this is
or-
basic stuff.
Yeah.
We all know that we're here to catch fish in cold waters on flashers, and it's going to be hard to get your it's going to be hard to get pro trolls to work for the first month. It's going to be difficult. You know,
Yeah,
maybe even through April, it's going to be really hard to get them to kind of go on those. We don't know why. I think it's a cold water thing, and
Well, we talked to Josiah about that.
That action.
and the temperature. And he said as soon as he sees somebody catch one on a 360, he switches over. So
Yep.
Whatever temperature.
and that's
it is.
actually good for the channel too.
They work great, and,
Yep.
and you know what? There's always fish caught on them earlier than they're supposed to be.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I think that sometimes you just gotta get in front of a willing biter.
That's it.
I mean, I think that's the most important part, and it's hard earlier. There's just less of them.
Yeah.
And then we get a little more into the run, and there's more fish around. You see fish caught on everything.
That's it.
This
That's
year, I mean, right now we have all this extra snow. I think the Willamette is probably a little colder right now than it typically
gosh.
should be, and it's definitely.
It's way cold.
I mean, a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
there was, I wouldn't say quite a few, but there was only a few people trying, like 2-3 boats trying to catch fish, and most of those boats were getting one. Now it's 6, 7, 8 degrees colder than it was 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
And that has kind of slowed up. I do
We're
know
38-degree water.
Yeah, that's a different program. You still can get them, and you still got to hit them on the face. You're
Different
probably not
program.
going to chase it as far. But honestly, you're never going to catch one sitting on the couch. So I'm going to go. I got my boat. I got my boat put together this afternoon. I'm going to go this weekend, and I'm going to take my nephews and my dad.
Yep.
And go troll around for the sake of taking my nephews. It looks like it's going to be nice on Saturday.
We got a couple of days of nice weather.
I know, and I'm going to want to go fishing.
Like, yeah.
Come with me.
Duh.
We're going to take Lynn's.
Okay. So
All right, Bill's in.
I'll bring her. I got it.
Yeah, we
I think it's some
definitely had some cold weather. I mean, it's been snowing right down to the valley floor.
Yeah.
Not sticking, but for it to be doing that over a week or more, it's kind of odd.
I have so many
Okay.
pictures steelhead fishing in March in like t-shirts or like light sweatshirts. And now I'm all like,
I'm bundled up.
sliding my way over the hill every day, like skating around the snow. It just sucks. I'm over it. I'm like way over it.
Yeah, I just got done telling somebody that it's usually 60 in March.
There's some beautiful. I've had some
feel like it's
gorgeous
gonna happen.
March days.
No,
Yeah,
I
this
know.
is terrible.
Yeah.
Even 70, right? We
Yep.
hit 72.
Yep. Yep.
Anyway, it's not spring break. It's winter break. this year.
Right.
No, we're on third winter. Remember
This
how
is
this
third-
goes? There's
second,
like
third winter.
First winter, second winter, and third winter in the Oregon. Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Yep.
Whatever. I'm still
I'm over
anxious
it.
to spring Chinook fish. Bill, you're talking about the cold water. If you're gonna go down, if we had to go get one tomorrow, where are you gonna start? What are you gonna do? I don't mean where as far as location on the river. I mean
whatever. We're gonna be in the Willamette or just below it
yeah.
because those are the fish that always come back 1st.
Mhm.
We're gonna look for obviously, our usual suspected water.
Yeah, outside of
17,
Sand Island.
30 foot of water.
The backside of the lighthouse area, that
Yeah.
stuff always fishes. Everyone's there, and then
That's right.
all the way down the entire Columbia below that, there's the million bars.
Are you guys running shallower though? I mean, the fish can. When the dirtier the water is, the closer
Shallower
to the
you go
surface.
when it's
For
dirty.
sure.
Or higher, right?
Temperature.
Higher.
What happens when you have this high water? I go, you saw that fish we caught. I was in 4 foot of water, anchored up, and that was the middle of April.
Right.
But the water was so high, it was in the trees because that they dump water.
Pushing them to the edge.
Correct.
Yeah.
It pushes them right off to the edge. You like to go sit. It's the same thing with trolling, though. Especially, and you can go that can be all the way from Vancouver all the way down to Astoria. Literally, just try to get out of the current if it's dirty and high.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember fishing with you up there. I mean, I know it wasn't below the Willamette, but I remember going with you up there, Rooster Rock area, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And we clobbered them. I don't think we were ever in less than more than 15 feet.
We were never in.
We were 9, 10
we
feet
were
water
in
all
10
day.
trolling against that Washington side. Yep.
That was good stuff. I remember that.
Super shallow.
That was way back. That was way back.
Back when
We clobbered them that day.
did.
We creamed them. That was pretty good fishing. I was like, Bill can fish. I'd heard you could fish, but I was like, all right, let's go.
I know this guy.
We smoked him. That was pretty good stuff. That was pretty good stuff.
If you don't go, right?
Yeah, no, that was a great one.
That's right.
I was working at Clackercraft and Bruce was like, I want a springer. Let's go
I
springer
remember
fishing.
Bruce coming
and I was like, all right, I got a guy. Let's go with Billy. And we clobbered him. That was good. We brought my buddy Matt and my friend Nick went with us.
And Greg.
And filled the boat and smoked him.
Wasn't it Greg and?
Greg. No, it was Nick and Matt. I got the picture.
Oh, that's
I
right.
can show you later.
It was. Yeah, see, my brain sucks.
Yeah.
So high,
So
dirty,
anyways.
edges,
Yep,
low.
yep.
You go a little deeper, look.
That's
a little
right.
Deeper.
And when it starts to clean up, the water for spring chinook, if it gets like turbidity like 10 and below, and we're gonna have that usually means the water's not gonna be crazy high.
Right.
We're gonna troll early season. We're gonna troll herring, and that's what we got here.
Yes. Show me about the herring.
Oh, I like this herring. This is the bad bait, right? You guys don't like this bait.
I don't care.
No, this is horrible.
I like-
Nobody uses this.
I like
We
when
don't
it's
want it.
been good.
Anyways, we'll go over this in a minute, but like early season, right? Early season, we're here with. Let's look at this. We are here with a mooching rig. Yep. This is my mooching rig that I like to use. It is a fly tie backed size 4 and a end hook of size 5. I like it to be able to slide.
It's a 4-aught and a 5-aught.
Whatever, you
Just
know what I
saying.
mean.
All right.
Kids these days.
You know, I'm a little concerned, hey Lucas, about Facebook and filleting these little fish. We're gonna get in trouble there.
Oh,
Sorry.
are we murdering?
I gotta
fish?
bring that up real fast.
As long as you don't write it in the text, we're fine.
Okay.
You just can't write it.
Okay,
in the
everybody.
text.
But can we live
Don't
cut
call.
our bait?
Yeah, we're good.
You sure?
Okay,
Because I can
okay.
do it off the
We
screen.
just don't title it that.
It's just-
Yeah. Okay.
We're just gonna make these herrings spin.
Yes.
We
Yeah,
are
that's
turning
okay.
these little herring
adding
into
a bevel.
yummy,
That
yummy
sounds-
herring.
That sounds way.
Yeah. This is from like the prop department.
Yeah, these are plastic.
Just
Fillet
everybody
tools.
knows.
Plastic.
Excellent.
Okay, so
Anyways, you guys all know we have bumper lines above our flashers. You know that I really like to use red. Josiah does not like to use red, and that's okay.
No.
What do you like, big chartreuse?
He likes chartreuse. If it ain't chartreuse, it ain't no use.
I like that one. I like
that
that
where
one
you're
about
at?
half right. No, honestly, I'm not. My favorite ones are. UV like this on both sides.
Oh, show me.
It's the whole thing.
Oh,
The whole
oh, UV. But what color
What about
plastic?
just chrome?
Yeah, green or
Green,
yellow.
clear.
I like a lot of them are that
Clear.
UV on both sides.
You know, Cameron Black, he likes the mirrored
Sides.
on both sides. That's a thing. Yeah. So, anyways, what we do is we have our flasher. Okay, we have a little bumper line that I like to call right here. Okay, this is maybe 16 inches, maybe 12.
And do you step up the? Sorry to interrupt you, but do you use
Yep.
heavier stuff there on
Yep.
purpose?
For me,
So, like-
this goes 40, 30.
Okay.
Or this year, I'm going to switch over to 50, 50. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, you don't want to lose them.
I know it's pretty. Now we got another 36 inches back here of your leader from your bead chain
You,
to your hooks. Okay, we just got this whole long setup, and this is basically it. So this keeps you kind of sane and makes you normal on the boat, so you don't go crazy by making yourself get a bunch of tangles. Yeah, because you really can't rely on the swivel here above the flasher.
No, and these are really good quality.
They're great qualities.
But you never know.
But I'm telling you, you're
Little
going to
pieces.
spin a herring for 5,000 revolutions.
Yeah.
You can't have enough of these.
Yeah.
So
You got to have.
for whatever it's worth, not that this is perfect, and I move this up. Nick does them. Fernandez, he likes little bumpers.
Yep,
I
yep.
used to always do them that way. I like to do them. I just tie my leader length, and I put a swivel in the end of the leader, and I turn that clip around.
Oh, yeah.
So
You put it
Oh,
Mhm.
this way.
so every one of my leaders just has a swivel on the end, That way I still have 2 swivels, right?
So
I still
you'll do
have-
it like this.
Mhm.
Yep. Instead of like this.
Yep, so it's easy to unclip, and that way when I get a fish or whatever, I can toss one, or if I break one off.
If you break one off at the beach, and then that works pretty good.
So just more than one way to skin a cat.
That is exactly it right there.
So on the heavier line too, with all the seals and sea lions.
If you need to get them, you can
You
get
gotta
them.
crank it in
Yeah.
fast, and not
Yeah.
a bad idea either.
So get this, right? We have this like spring Chinook setup, which is great. We cold water, and then we're gonna use Pro Trolls once the summer comes around. Maybe a little bit of plugs on the anchor. That's gonna be a real thing. But then don't ever be afraid once we end up back at buoy 10, because we will. That will be a thing. Don't ever forget that you can do the same setup and go back to old school with just a standard old size 8 spinner. Don't be afraid of it. This is what goes on the bow of the boat, and you set it and forget it at a certain number, and it does work.
Yeah, some people just always have one spinner out. Just one. Because
Just
if it
to
gets
have
hit,
some hardware.
if it gets hit, then
Right.
you can switch some more.
So,
Right.
so last year,
Pro Trolls are fishing good, but this is another thing where you don't have to maintain all this high maintenance stuff on the boat with Pro Trolls and speed and specific patterns of getting that Pro Troll down.
Just to rewind, what are you using for a mainline? Braided?
I use mainline braided 65.
65, 80 braids
Yep.
up heavy.
Yep.
Doesn't make much difference.
It really doesn't.
And it's such a fine
It's
thin diameter.
thinner than
Yeah.
this, but
You can get away with less lead if you don't use mono on your main lines. I do like fighting fish with mono. It's kind of nice. It's more forgiving. But
insurance policies.
it's
right?
but braid's so much less maintenance. I do want to tell you. So that spinner thing you're talking about. When I was in high school, I fished the channel every day. Right, every day, like
after school,
before school,
Yep.
after school. I mean, maybe sometimes before and after school. A lot before and after school. A lot.
That's a thing.
Now I think about it, all the time.
It's right there.
So it's right by my house, and my dad's boat was moored right there. So we never had bait, and a lot of times we'd come straight from baseball practice. So me and my buddies would just grab spinners and throw them on there, and we would catch quite a few fish on spinners, and just because that's what we had. We didn't have any bait. We just wanted to
Big
go fish for an hour. Yeah,
the old classics.
Number 7 and 8, big, stupid. That's what we had.
Yeah.
So
it's easy.
so last year, I get bored because I'm having my back, whatever rod over my motor, just wasn't getting bit. The one I run never gets bit. So I was like, forget it. I'm going to put a spinner on it one day.
Yeah.
I drop a spinner on it because I'm not paying any attention. And I am not kidding at all. I killed 3 fish that day on that spinner. All 3 fish we got, all 3 of them were on the one rod I had sticking out the spinner. And it's the last one through. So it's not like those fish didn't have opportunities to see the other ones. But here's the kicker.
That's crazy.
I didn't catch another one on that spinner for a month.
That was your moment.
That day was absolutely the move. It was like the back. I thought I'd reinvented the wheel. Oh, there goes one.
Maybe it was the depth or something.
That beats me, but I'll tell you what, 2 of them I saw on the graph too. I remember being like, oh, there's one.
Hey.
And it went through all the rods, and I thought, oh, we didn't get him. And then all of a sudden, wham, slammed the spinner, the last one it saw. So that fish chose to eat that instead of.
So never count the spinner out.
Nope,
Never.
it is not that bad of an idea.
You're just missing an opportunity because they may want that.
And if you get a bunch of rods sticking out, why not?
I know.
All right, Bill. So tell us about what we're doing here.
Check it out. This is we are turning these plastic baits,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Whatever. They're herring. I'm just kidding. But we cut these a little bit differently, depending on what size of bait we have. This year, if you've noticed, they're all kind of bigger green labels. This is going to be the majority of the bait. Is going to be this one right here. They are almost approaching blue size.
Is it because they're eating
It's
so well?
because the way that the herring were harvested this year up high, they were not able to access them early.
Oh.
So
They were a bigger,
So
they were a bigger
grew
product.
A little bit more.
So, and it's that way from gig to harbor to you name it. There's different, just like Josiah mentioned, there's different ways to skin a cat, which is just okay. If we get out into the ocean and we have all this like, I just want to catch coho, then we cut these differently. But we're talking about springers. This is why we're all here. I have just one quick, easy method to do this. And you just grab your knife, okay? And literally, you're going to put it flat like this, okay? Right on the fish. This is a 90-degree everything, knife straight up and down. You're going to rotate your knife to a 45-degree angle, and then you're going to rotate the blade to a 45-degree angle. This is your standard business cut. It gets it every time, and that is it.
And
Really,
I like that.
And he's free-handing them, which is cool, and you can do them, and it's easy. But you can also buy the bevels.
you have a box,
The boxes, miter box cuts
Miter
are
box
really
cuts.
consistent.
and it lets you do a sharp, or like this is what we're going to go for the
They
ocean.
call them coho or chinook
It's
cuts,
super sharp, super fast, and it
Yeah.
cuts it so fast.
And even if you have the box, if the knife's not sharp,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
squishing everything.
one mega important thing, and
Exactly.
I've sharpened my fillet knife for my herring more than I've sharpened my fillet knife for actually filleting salmon. It helps so much if your knife if your fillet knife sharp. I mean, I've spent
This is
the Kershaw ones that they sell that are like $12.
I
You know, the little they're great. You know, they work. I use a ton of them
as long as they're sharp.
And
'cause
you
they're sharp.
want, and you want that nice, sharp edge.
That
there.
edge.
it really helps them
Hit,
be
you know.
consistent.
And
Now-
this is
now
why
I-
this is why we come here, and we actually like our packaged bait like this that comes in trays.
So do you vent? Are you a venter? Some people cut or not
You know,
shear.
it
technically puts less pressure on the front end.
So check it out.
But at the same time, it might not spin as well, right?
Check it out. Yeah. We basically like to come here. I like to grab this if we go to here and we just
Grab the guts with
grab the guts, and I like them to come out a little cold because the freezer keeps them whole. And you just pull that out right there, and that's gonna be your package right there.
Right.
I don't care how dirty I'm getting, by the way.
No, it's all good.
And then come in, it's going to open up that cavity. That's really what you want. You just want this cavity open. You don't need to vent back here. You can, but the way I put these in, you just come right through the long cut side and then pull it right out.
See, now that's totally different than what a lot of guys do.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. No, you're going to go to the back here.
We're going to extend this out. Yep. And see, you come right here.
Upper
You
back.
got the tip of this hook is right on the backbone.
It's on the high side.
That's right. It's on the high side of the backbone. Okay, that's if you're looking at this bait, it's going to be on. This is the left side, the high side. Believe it or not, it may not look like it on camera. This is the high side. Okay.
Yeah.
Put that hook on the left, right here on the left high side of the backbone. Come back 4 ribs. Hard to count, but they're there. 4 ribs.
Come on.
Oh
and
my
come
gosh.
out right-
You have your,
No way.
Right up the top.
you have your
ribs.
contacts in or something.
I'm gonna tell you a little secret.
Right at
That
the top.
depends on the size of your hooks, because you use bigger hooks than
I
me.
use 4 or
and
5.
with little
That's right.
hooks.
Now, if you
It's
got little hooks and you got 3 of them, it's a different story. You're going to want that middle hook to be.
I
right
only go
here.
1.5
It might
ribs.
depend on how good your eyes are, too.
1.5 ribs, not 4.
1.5 ribs.
Okay, so Bill, before you get any further, this is something that's super important that you're doing that's way different. Not way different, but you have that set to slip. That is a big
Correct.
So your front hook can slip,
Correct.
so you can adjust your distance on your back hook.
So that's correct. And the reason I do that is to adjust my distance on the back hook, or you could straight tie this. Another reason, though, why I like this setup is if you get bit from the side, they're going to come right here and they're going to side hit you. They're going to miss this, unfortunately. But they're going to grab this. And the theory is that once they hit this and they try to go, you're going to get the fish on, and it's going to do
So
this
it slips.
and pin it up. It's going to pin that fish up. Now, on a side bite also, on a straight tied moocher though, this will not give, and it will allow you to rely on this hook instead of trying to bank on this hook coming back and circling the fish to try and hook it through the cheek.
Yeah, it's almost like a bead
It's
rig.
really, really actually difficult to get it to work. And this is why we say, hey, I need you to count to 5 or 10 seconds. Let that fish bite. Give it a 10
It's
count.
almost like a bead rig.
We need him
he
to chew
grabs
on it.
this, he misses that, but then this slides into the side of his
Correct.
face.
And he
Here's
comes
the
back
deal.
in and he
Here's
wraps
the deal.
himself
I tell
up.
my guys the same thing all the time when we're fishing for springers. Guys, these fish go out into the ocean when they're, little tiny babies, and they spend 3 or 4 or 2 or however many years they're out there. They only do one thing in the ocean their entire lives. They eat. It's the only thing they're good at.
That's all they're doing.
Guys, let them.
Yep.
Let them eat.
Let him chew. Let him
I know
chew,
you
let
run.
him
I know
chew.
you run your rods from Jay. What are they called?
My Raptors.
Raptor
Raptor rods.
And so, and I have I have JS Custom Tackle rods. They're on the Patriot blanks. I think they're the same as the Talons. I think the Talon rods are the same one. Yeah.
Same builder for you guys, right?
Yeah. Same, well, different. My buddy gets same lengths.
Oh, same
my
lengths.
buddy Joel makes
different builder. That's right.
Are you guys running like 9, 10 feet?
Mine are 10.5s and they're glass. And I'm going to tell you,
Super
you're
soft.
they're
flexy.
so soft. It
Flexy,
makes such a
flexy,
huge difference.
flexy.
When they start to go, you have all the time in the world. I'm like, guys, watch. This is the funnest part. Leave it. Hey, everybody. And I tell everyone on the boat, make a big announcement.
Look.
Guys, look, fish, this one. And everyone stop. Then we'll make a group decision to pick it up. That way, when it comes off, it's not your fault. But for the most part, if you let them load, they'll stay. They will just keep eating
We
it.
just need that rod to just hold on. Wait a minute. And then it will stop for a minute. And they're either chasing it
or it's in their mouth.
or it's in their mouth and they're
swimming
swimming with you. So a lot of guys like to give it gas and move that fish forward to put tension on it. Or you just give it another 5 count after that, and then it loads, the rod's fully loaded, and you can pick it up and play.
I have never had such a good ratio as I did last year since I switched to those rods. It was 100.
Now you know why you soft
100%.
rods. I love it.
100%. Now, I'm not going to say it's the only reason it worked, because I know that a lot of my friends actually had pretty good ratios. It seemed for whatever reason they were sticking better last year. They weren't being as picky. But I will tell you that I was just wildly impressed with my rods last year.
Yep.
I would not go back. No way.
Yep. Same thing with me. I like to use a nice, easy 10 to 20 in the spring, and then I switch over for fall rods because we're going to have 16 ounces hanging with Pro Tools. 24s, and I go to a 1540.
But
That's
I still
a whole
have
different matrix.
But I have 15 to 40 glass ones also.
And those are fun.
Oh God, they're nice.
Nuclear proof.
Yeah, you can. I pretty much tell everybody. I'm like, just try
break that.
and break the rod. Pull as hard as you can. Just try and break it.
Just set the hook.
They're so forgiving. They're so nice to fish with.
How do you get your steelhead fishermen
What do you
that
mean?
come with you in spring Chinook fish? How do you get them to not set the hook?
I just give them beers. They don't pay attention.
I just give them beer.
You can have one. There's a way for one to be on there. No, honestly,
don't touch that.
90% of the time, unless it's the back 2 rods, I see it before them, and I just try not to say anything.
Just
That's
let it
awesome.
go. Let
Just
it
don't
go.
say anything. I see it bump once or twice, and I'll just stare at it for a second, and I'll wait and try and give it a good 2-3 count before I even say anything. Grant Sheely did this to me one time, and I'll tell you just because it's a fun story. Jaws of the LC, I'm fishing with Grant, sitting in the bow of his boat, and Grant goes, "Hey, Si, did I ever tell you about that time I had a guy on my boat, and I was talking to him, and he was getting bit on his rod, but he didn't even know it. And I was just telling him, and I just kept telling him the story about it. And the whole time he was getting bit, and and finally, I'm like, that's me right now. I'm currently doing it. You're screwing with me right now. So, yeah, that was a pretty good one.
That's good.
That was a good one. Yeah, I was like, oh, that's good. I was probably...
that worked. Thank you.
I was
Good
probably
job.
15, 18. That was way back. But that was
That's awesome.
that was a good one. He just started distracting me from looking at it.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Well
Grant's a
played.
clever dude.
Well played. Great.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
I know he is.
So do you do other ways? Is that the one way you do it? Do you have like 5 different hook configurations?
There is a little difference in variances. I mean, you could slow it down a little bit. You could speed it up. But this is my overall
That's your
this is
your
the
go-to.
This is the basic. This is the basic setup for mooching. I mean, if you're herring fishing and you got a cut plug out, you have a good option. You have a good opportunity to catch a salmon or a coho on this. No problem.
So there's different ways, and you'll figure this out the way you want them to spin. And I'm going to touch one. I'm going to all slimy.
Well, I already am.
But
It's
what
really
I'm going
good.
to tell you is
Go home
so
with
the
it.
way that Bill ran this hook out, he came down the belly lower in the fish cavity. If you change where that comes out, if you put that hook higher or further back or not as far back, and this is something that we have the benefit to do because we do so many baits, because I have so many rods. But if you move where you come out with those hooks, and also a lot, if you move where that hook goes in, Bill ran this one pretty vertical, and he's on the high side.
I am on the high side.
And I can take that high side one sometimes and twist it. I'll still start on the high side, but I'll turn it so it comes out way down on the opposite, on the low side a lot.
Yeah. This pulls it differently and will make it rotate.
Pivots the way it spins completely.
Bigger spin.
Completely.
It's different.
Slower.
And when you have 6 rods like we do a lot of times, and you have the ability to do that,
You can do this.
I intentionally do them a few different ways. I change where I put the hooks. That's a big deal. I think it really helps, especially when I'm fishing that many rods in a row.
For sure.
The other one that we hadn't talked about, but the scent. Do you fish them naked? Do you like to brine them? What's your main?
So my big thing is,
you like popsicles, don't you?
I like them frozen.
Yeah, he likes popsicles
Because
they're real.
they're real. This
Yeah.
is their main food source. This is exactly what the natural environment is what they're going after. Mm-hmm. For me, I use the real bait. I don't like to brine it. I don't like to color it. If it's got scales and there's scales still existing after 2 or 3 passes on a
still
pole,
shiny,
and it's still shiny, that bait is fishing. It still has the smell of its natural bait. The only reason that you're getting from me that I'm going to change it is when this bad boy flares out. And when it flares out, it's dead. I can't get it to keep spinning. Mm-hmm. It's got to go, right? A lot of guys are like, you know what? I'm only going to make one pass. One pass. I can only make this work. One pass. I got to switch it up. It's got to be super fresh. That's just not my game. I don't do it like that, and I never have. And I want natural presentation. And by the way, when they're frozen popsicles, they're easier.
They cut. They're cut. If they're slightly frozen, they're very easy to cut.
Much easier to get a cut plug on a semi-frozen bait.
Well, just to play devil's advocate, because I mean you're a good springer fisherman. I get a few, but I do completely opposite than you. I almost never put out a fresh bait. Mine are almost always brined, and I do blue ones, chartreuse ones.
Like them to flash.
I want different, and I have different scents in my brines. Yep. They're completely the opposite. Yep. Now, I almost never fish popsicles. Not that they don't work. Clearly, they do. You get plenty of them. Work,
but
I really
so
like.
It's colors, though, right?
I really like. Last year, chartreuse
baits was the thing for you guys.
And the other cool thing that I have going on is for our. So we call it Springer Camp, but our Springer Camp, I have 4 or 5, Bill included,
on there.
4 or 5 really good fishermen.
We are all comparing notes.
So I have Cody and Brandon Cody Herman, Brandon Glass. Probably heard of them.
Half-mile away.
They live a half-mile away. Nick Fernandez, who also guides at Waterfall Resort in Alaska and does nothing but cut herring all summer, every day, hundreds of them. All day. I went up there with him last summer. You will learn.
It's phenomenal.
Bill Monroe's there, myself, and then Ted Tufel, who's a good fisherman, and then also this year we got a guest appearance. We have Shane Magnuson, who's also staying there. So there's another pretty good stick.
That's gonna be.
And then occasionally, and then we have Jared and Hunter sightings.
That's right.
And Higginbotham pops in once in a while.
So do you guys test the colors? And
we just get to talk.
We get to compare what speed we were going, what color worked today, whereas yesterday.
The dyes do have UV in them, the low light, dark.
And you can go broke here and add UV if you want to. You can buy the UV spray.
Yep.
We've got some questions from the comments.
Copy.
One person, Kyle Glore, asks, why do you prefer sliding hooks?
And that was that for me, the sliding hooks, it allows, if you get bit from the side, here, watch, it allows this, it allows this to happen. And then I get bit, and then this hook ends up coming up and getting a cheek grab. It's not all the time, but it does. It just provides another opportunity.
And I for that to
same
work. Thing as before.
Devil's advocate.
Polar opposite.
What about the triple hooks? A lot of guys will use.
Oh, there you go.
I'm polar opposite. I want that front one stick because 90% of my fish, that's the hook that's buried.
Locked up.
I want that one locked
up. They're only hooked up on this. Now with barbless though. So much suckiness in the Columbia.
Yeah, it's harder.
Do you guys run triples? A lot of people.
Sometimes.
Get the middle hook here.
Sometimes. What I like to do triples is probably in the fall. For me. If I'm going to fish bait and anchovies, it's a triple hook setup.
I leave in my fish 2. I've never thought I did better with 3 than 2 as far as my bite to land ratios if I leave in the holders.
Another comment?
We got another comment question from Chris Calcano. Do you ever trim the tail fins?
Oh, watch this. Chris asked that question because he's a really good fisherman, and I've seen him, and I've actually seen a couple other dudes do this. They'll come in here, and they'll create a nice little
So it's an added spin.
Well, no, look at it. It tightens up the spin, and you see what you've got here.
Oh yeah.
See, you've got the point.
The tail's not.
I've seen this actually work.
Okay, wow.
And I'm getting not that many bites because of these,
Because
flapping around because the
tail
fish.
is hitting the water.
The fish,
Yeah.
this salmon is back here looking at this, being like, I don't know. But then it sees this, and it's like, oh, that's different.
Oh,
I might have to have that.
That's definitely injured.
I might have to have this injured fish because it's missing a tail. It's a thing.
Yeah, it's not. It's they roll different. You can drop in the
Completely
water,
bullet,
drop in the water, cut
super
its tail
fast.
off, drop in the water again, and it'll spin different.
That's a bullet.
Not necessarily
spinner,
better or worse, but it'll spin different.
Yeah.
Got another one?
What do you got?
Do you keep your herring on ice or just in a cooler?
Both.
Mine are in jars. Mine
Well-
are brine. Mine are in jars, and they're packed in ice.
So on ice.
They're cold. And,
Either-
Bill was talking about having them
fresh.
with their popsicles, cutting them, and being able to cut better. If they're cold like that, they are always easier to
Yeah,
cut.
you want to keep them cold all the time.
Yeah.
Mine are literally in a Yeti in the back of the boat,
Mm-hmm.
right? On a bag of ice with face up. So my foam the tray of my foam is sitting down in my cooler, and then the bait stays super, super frozen until I decide to pull it out and let it thaw.
Yeah, so back in the day, I would go fishing and use just a little cooler with the lid that popped off and on. I'd fill it with ice. I'd put salt water in it. I'd
Super
pour
cold.
rock salt, tons
Super
of rock
cold,
salt,
super cold.
and then you take the bluing. I forget the name of the brand.
Yes.
The bluing at the store.
it's a lady's
they
name.
still
It
have
is.
it.
It's
They-
like,
you can still
yeah.
do all that stuff, but you can obviously get
Somebody watching this knows what that
But
bluing's called.
back in the day,
It's
that's
bluing.
what you did. You'd have the ice, salt water, dump your frozen herring in there, rock salt, bluing, and there you go.
And you were good.
Yeah.
And it didn't come out
that was
blue. It
that was
didn't come out
100 years
blue.
ago. Right?
The bluing didn't make it come out blue.
No,
Just
No,
makes
it would be
shiny.
like it'd
It's
have
like
a
a-
film on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even know how to explain it, and other people did it, so you did it, right? But,
And it worked.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I bet you it
definitely.
worked.
It
Yeah.
makes it shine.
Mhm.
Nope, that's pretty good stuff. What the heck is that name? I know.
Mothers?
It's like grandma.
Yeah, you can still buy it. It's at the grocery store.
Is it
I know.
Mother's Day? No, I
So
don't.
you guys know exactly. It's a little
Yeah,
little
little
plastic
bottle.
bottle, flip
Bought 100
top.
of
The bottle.
Used it a
old
ton
lady
when I was a
on
kid.
fire,
Yeah, it's old lady on it. Yeah, it's still
Any
good
other
stuff.
comments coming through? Or?
Does anybody know whether the pre-tied Yamagatsu rig works?
Oh.
I assume that if they have those ones that are pre-tied, here's the thing about that I've learned being around the industry a little bit, like egg cures, pre-tied rigs, a lot of that stuff. They want you to succeed on what they're making, so they make stuff that works.
It actually
Yeah.
does.
They-
I buy pre-tied.
Most of that stuff, like you always see the egg cure packages. People ask me, "What kind of egg cure do you use?" Right off the bottle and go by the directions, because that works.
That works.
They want you to keep buying it.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. So
Yeah.
I would guess that those. I haven't tried them just because of the time I own. Because I'm a fishing guide. It's expensive to do it that way. But if you're not using a pile of them, that's an easy way to do it. Especially if you're in a pinch. I would not worry about them very much.
I don't
would use them.
hesitate buying pre-ties at all.
Yeah.
Quite frankly,
Yeah, I use
That-
them. Yeah.
I don't see why not. They actually are pretty functional. The only thing that they do differently is they tie mono onto mono.
Do you
They
ever-
tie
do you ever have
mono
to-
onto mono, and
do
it
you ever
turns.
have to
If it
tighten
gets
it
too
up?
hot, it turns into a solid, mass.
Yeah,
But if you
it's
buy
stuck.
like pre-ties, a set without sliding, yeah, pretty cool.
So we're gonna see pretty much. I would say right about the next 3 weeks. The last week of March is when you're really gonna. I'm gonna guess, but that last week of March, assuming the weather doesn't
Here we go.
stay cold, is about when you're really gonna see this thing pop.
Here we go. The last week of March, first week of April, first full week of April.
First full
we
week of
are
April,
getting
the Columbia's
till
gonna
April
go.
7th.
But it's gonna that last week of March. I still have a bunch of days open, and I know it's gonna fill quick because as soon as a few more fish start to get, people start
started.
seeing them caught. But that last week of March and the first week of April are good. It's gonna be great. One thing that I do a lot, just backwards because it's what I've done my whole life. I fish the channel a lot when the Columbia is open because
There's nobody in there.
y'all are out
Oh,
there.
yeah.
There's nobody in there.
That's where all the fish are.
Yeah, well, I'll fish for 2 fish by myself than 10 fish with 10 people.
That's the thing.
And I spent a lot of time there. I was looking back at my memories, and that's one cool thing about your Facebook, memories, and then just looking back at old photos, the timestamp, the date, and I remember looking, oh, that was March 2nd, 3rd, or excuse me, April 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, or whatever. Like, oh, the Columbia's been open this whole time.
The whole time.
And all my pictures were in the channel last year. I mean, I went out there and got some good days, but
That works good.
So you've been keeping notes on all this stuff, apparently.
basically my entire life.
I keep a nice little log.
Yeah, what's up? What you got?
Tony Marsh said Mrs. Stewart's.
Mrs. Stewart's, that's it.
That's it.
yeah.
Mrs. Stewart's Bluing.
I knew it was on there.
And
Don't
it's
they
got-
use that too if you're taking a pee test in
it's-
the toilet?
I don't know.
Maybe.
It turns
Oh,
green.
sorry, that's that
It'll
whole
turn green.
Coast
It's
Guard,
blue, right?
you know.
Coast
thing.
Guard.
Oh, this is some like.
Mrs.
turns
Stewart's
green.
Bluing.
Yeah.
I knew somebody would know that.
That's
That's
a
pretty
little
good
picture
stuff.
of her face, isn't
Yeah,
there?
yeah, yeah.
Smiling.
Must be Mrs. Stewart.
Yeah.
You can still buy it. I think. It's
I'll
still-
remember
it
Mrs.
gets
Stewart.
whites. It gets whites whiter. It's in the wash.
That's actually a thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? I guess it's
It
blue.
does. It gets white.
It's a
The
brightener.
blooming.
Is it?
Brightener.
Brightener. There you go.
Right now.
Speaking of bright.
So now, so Bill and I are both members of NSI. We're both board members, and Bill's probably more vocal about stuff than I am. I mean, we do the magazine. We don't want to get everybody worked up all the time because we want people to go out and enjoy fishing.
I do.
But he gets a little more worked up. I mean, we all get worked up about things, and essentially, this is all about having a voice. Everybody is pulling and tugging. You got 3 states. You got one river that braids out into many other rivers.
Right.
But everybody starts the arguments and fights start in the lower Columbia. The fish start coming back. They start counting them over the dam, and then they start setting the dates and whatnot.
Allocations, quotas.
Yeah, and so NSIA essentially is a voice, and if everybody doesn't have a voice, then that group isn't heard. It could be the sports fishermen or the Native Americans. Everybody kind of wants their cut, essentially, and for I don't know how long. The Columbia,
that's what it comes down to.
The Columbia wasn't even open for how many years?
Years. We're talking like a decade.
Yeah, a long time.
When I was a kid, I'd go to the Deschutes.
Yeah.
I mean, I still love the Deschutes, don't get me wrong. And you would just drive along the Columbia and think, oh, that's
Oh,
a
wow, I
pretty
remember
river.
we used to fish there.
And then you'd go to your favorite river or tributary
Yeah.
and fish there, instead.
Yeah.
So, you always got to keep all this in mind that at one point that wasn't even available for sports fishing.
Oh yeah, that's a real thing.
Well, not to mention, I remember even 3 day a week fisheries.
Yeah.
Once in a while.
Or by the mouth.
Monday,
Yeah,
Wednesday,
yeah,
Saturdays,
by
or
the
whatever. I mean, there's. I think that and I've talked to Nick about this a bunch. But he's like, man, he's just saying it's so cyclical, right? You have these highs, you're gonna have these peaks and valleys. I think this year we're gonna see a pretty good peak. I mean, our freaking fall was awesome. Fall, summer was good.
Fall was too
Last
awesome.
spring was good. Fall was too awesome.
Fall was too
It
awesome.
blew
is what it
expectations
came down
and
to.
actually screwed it up because it got closed too soon.
And call me crazy, but it just snowed in San Bernardino.
Yeah.
If the ocean
That's right,
hasn't,
it did.
if the ocean hasn't cooled off a little bit,
Yeah, I'm guessing it's pretty healthy.
The ocean's doing pretty
the
good.
ocean controls the temperature of our entire coast.
Yeah.
And most of the
that
planet.
means something. Right?
Well, don't forget that.
And most of the planet.
Don't forget that whole world thing where the ocean controls,
The little blue
the
sea.
climates.
No, I think we're gonna see a pretty cool spring. I'm really looking forward to the spring, the summer. Obviously we'll see how everything plays out. Once the chips fall, you'll actually see what happened.
Yeah.
But shoot, man, I got really high hopes for it. I got about 10 steelhead trips to get through over the next week or two. We got a few more things to do.
I'll say one thing, and that's this whole where we do this political part, and maybe not so much you, but I definitely do. I do that in making sure that we have this opportunity to fish and make sure we fight for the resources and the habitat and the restoration, yada yada, all of it is kind of a big deal because we actually are the sport fishermen, and just like the tribes, they actually do their part to create fish. So much. And our lower river fishery is one thing, upper river fishery is one thing, but the bigger picture is to make sure to fight for the opportunity to be able to go fishing in our backyard. That's what we do.
I think the word quagmire applies.
It's so heavily crazy involved that I don't want any of those departments' jobs. I don't.
Right.
It's beyond fathomable because they are being breathed down by federal authorities, NOAA fisheries, saying you will fall within ESA guidelines or else you are not going to control your waterways anymore. They've made it very clear that will happen.
If the feds get involved, it doesn't matter what anybody says.
It's done. Game over. Done. Game over. We need to be able to watch our fisheries, make sure that we can manage our quotas. And just because a fishing guide takes people fishing who buy fishing licenses doesn't mean that we are taking all the fish. It's not the fishing guide that's taking the fish. It's people who want to go fishing that don't have the access to be out there on the water themselves.
It could be people that have
It's just what a fishing guide does. Right? And that is where we come in and fight for our fisheries. We fight for allocation. We fight for, you name it. We fight for restoration. We fight for dams in the Snake River to come down because Snake River wild spring chinook are in trouble. And that is our main constrainer this year.
Yeah, it's our limiting factor.
Huge.
Well, and one thing that, I've obviously, self-serving, but like I hear people complain about the fishing guides and this and that or whatever, like, taking fish. Well, first of all, I don't take very many fish home when I'm working.
I take virtually no fish myself.
Second of all, go to one of those meetings where someone's fighting for our fisheries, or a little school board meeting on the Siletz River and see the Siletz cleanup crew guys, or the guys that are working at, Whiskey Creek Hatchery in Tillamook or whatever. Go see who shows up to those things and are actually putting the work in on the ground. It's fishing guides. Almost all of them are the guys whose literally careers based on that being. Go to one of those. And
that's joke.
When people complain about the fishing guides, that's why I don't really mind, some of the, like the Quinaults, for example. The Indians up there.
You pay really close attention to all this stuff.
They put a lot of fish in there. Huge. There's a lot of opportunity provided that, and the fishing guides are the first ones. They're going to get drilled when, something goes wrong, and we're like the scapegoat because we are out there every day.
We're out there every day, and we are highly effective, and we catch fish because we
do it every day.
We've perfected it.
If you fish that much and you're not good at it, we need a new job. You better get pretty good at it.
That's a tough way to say it.
So I was talking to your dad when we were down at Buoy 10. And I guess they're going to be doing a restoration here on Kellogg Creek.
That's right. It's right in our backyard here.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah,
right
it's down the street.
Do you know that Kellogg Creek used to have a return of steelhead?
It still
does. Johnson Creek natural origin coho as well.
It still does. Amazing.
And that's actually,
don't go fish it.
They're being shown to come back to that.
But so I think the price tag on that was like $15 million.
That's right.
So granted, I grew up on the creek. I fished it. I probably shouldn't have fished it, but I know a lot of it, where the fish spawned and the nice areas, and the lake part. It's probably a mile, if that, or 3/4 of a mile. It's a small stretch, but I kind of grumbled about it with your dad, and you got mad at me. But I was thinking, gosh, $15 million to fix this little 3/4 mile
small little habitat
area.
Restoration project.
But then then I start thinking about it. Well, mostly I was upset because I was thinking, I'll go buy a backhoe with a hammer on it, and I'll bust that dam out for $50, right? Anyway, so the $15 million seems like a lot. But, they got to pull the mud out. There's probably pollutants. They're going to, replant native
huge
plants.
Flow problems.
And they'll probably make it open up for, paths and people to spend time in the area, which is nice,
Sure.
And anyway, I just wanted him to know that
$15 million nice?
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, right?
No.
I was like, how much can you rent
$15 million can go a long ways in other places, but I digress.
Yeah.
That's a tough one, guys. It's all part of this.
I'm glad they're doing it. It's a good thing, and it's federal money. So,
Yep.
And honestly, it will add some spawning area, especially for the coho. There are also cutthroat in there.
A lot of cutties probably fall in the
coho.
Trout. There used to be lots of sea runs, but just native cutthroat that live in there.
Yep.
But yeah, the coho are definitely still in there. I've seen them. I think they're steelhead. I've heard that there are steelhead. The fishing game people would be more aware of that. I think they have seen them, especially Johnson.
I feel like when I lived out here in Clackamas, somebody was telling me about seeing a few of them in Johnson Creek.
Johnson Creek.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Johnson Creek is what I remember.
Yeah, I remember somebody coming to Clackcraft and showing me photos of it one day.
Oh, Johnson Creek dumps right here in Milwaukee.
It's the same. It's Milwaukee
It's the same
Bay.
Kellogg.
Kellogg's
comes
on
right in
one
it.
side and Johnson Creek is on the other side.
Yep.
And it's actually the biggest little bay area from here up to the falls. You know, like size-wise, it opens up. Not
that
huge.
Jefferson area. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. A lot of springers caught in there too.
So that's good. So you've been down fishing the coast, right?
You've been
And,
steelheading it up.
we catching
Every
a few
day.
steelhead.
In the
I think
snow.
we got a
In the
picture
snow, in the
here.
rain.
Where's that?
This
Oh.
could have been this
Sunshine, yeah.
morning.
Look at
actually.
you and Matt. That's really cute. I bet you it was warm that day.
It was snowing. It was cold enough that I wasn't wet because it was,
Snow.
Yeah, when it's the
Dry
sleet.
snow?
Yeah, the sleet's not so
Oh,
bad.
yeah.
The wet.
That was
Oh.
cool. That fish ate a megalip.
Ooh.
I went
plugfish.
Yeah, I went through that hole. We got one.
I like
And
it.
We got one, and I there wasn't much traffic, just because the snow wasn't many people on the river. And I said, I got some time. I don't got to rush. And we got one or two in this
that's
hole, and I'm like, there's.
Beautiful.
I said, there's no way there's not another one in there. So I went back to the top of the hole and put the plugs out, and I get a lot of fish on plugs in the heads of holes where bobber fishing doesn't get down fast enough.
Oh yeah.
That fish smashed it the second he flipped the bail over, like at the very top of the hole in the rapid, basically.
Was
So-
that on a 3.5?
Yep.
How money?
So-
It was on
What's
what's the pink one with the purple tail that's really good? That one.
I
Misty
know what you're
River.
talking about. Misty River.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Misty River.
I have one of those that's missing very
What's
most of its
there you
paint.
go. There we got.
That was one. That's yesterday.
That was
Oh,
yesterday.
is that
was
yesterday?
yesterday.
That's a beautiful.
You know who that
Is that
is.
a hen? That's pretty.
Yeah, that was a stud
See,
hen.
it looks nice and warm.
It's
there.
Jay Daly.
That's.
I brought Jay.
That's my man Jay.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That's good
That
stuff.
fish bit twice, and I was like, "That's
Really?
a fish."
It hit?
He's,
That's
no,
fish.
you know, it hit three. That was he got on the third
Your
try.
bobber was
It
dunking.
drained.
Back
And
up.
Jay's like, "Oh, it's a branch," and I'm like, "Mm." I'm like, "That's fish."
Wait a minute.
That would be the 753rd fish I've caught in that exact spot. That was a fish.
That's fish.
There's no branch.
I
there.
know that.
And then went through again a couple casts later. Bump, went out again, and then finally went through. And third time got him.
Did this fish bite twice or these twins?
Yeah,
Are
that was
One of these.
you know when you just land right on a pot of them. That was pretty cool.
So are these bit twice?
Yeah. Those bit at the same time.
Those two were that's husband wife. I
No,
mean,
they
you
were both
almost took a
bucks.
whole family out. That's
That was both bucks. Those were.
oh, they are both dudes. Yeah.
That was both dude fish. At least there was a pile of them in there. That was a pretty good run that day, and we hooked like 7 or 8 of them.
That one on the left probably kicked your butt.
Yeah, especially since I was trying to row and fight it.
And fight it.
And fight into it. Who am I kidding? I wasn't rowing. I was on my motor.
You.
But
The electric
I don't-
motor
yeah.
was running.
I run my motor.
Yeah, let's be
I wasn't
clear.
rowing. You don't get this shape of rowing every day. I run my motors, dude.
You gotta
That's-
run the Cadillac.
Run the Cadillac. It's deadly. I like to fish. It's way more fun
You
if I
probably
for
got a
me.
suspension seat in your drift boat.
Heck
Oh,
yeah.
dude, Clash Crap makes all that fancy bougie things. Very
Beer
bougie.
no rock.
Very bougie. All those special batteries. Bougie.
It's like a
Batteries are
seat,
key.
a self-massaging seat.
No,
Rubs your
Didn't
back.
Heated
Uh,
seat switch. Yeah.
Lucas, didn't you get one the other day, or you
Oh,
told
yeah,
me about
let's
this
see-
the other day?
let's
You haven't
see
got
this one.
or is your son?
This is your
Somebody had it?
your son's first
I
fish.
saw a picture the
right?
other day.
Yeah, it's in there.
Find him.
You got it down there.
There
Perfect.
it is.
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
That's a clean one, too.
That was a nice fish.
There's some smiles.
He's shiny.
Little
He's
Cleo.
shiny. Little Cleo.
Little
That was
Cleo.
a pretty good thump.
That's a good little smacker.
I
We,
love the little Cleo.
That was, we didn't hook anything in the first couple holes, and I found my favorite tail out that just always seems to hold them, and we went 3 for 4 all in one little
hole.
stretch.
Right there.
It's amazing when you find them.
They're all
I
huddled
I
up.
tell my guys all the time, these aren't hard to catch, guys. They're just hard to find.
Yes.
Just keep casting.
Yeah, and steelhead bite.
They bite well, especially if they're not run over. And that one's wild, and wild
That one
steelhead bite well.
You guys should really ask Ted Tufel how much I really love steelhead.
Bill's not. It's not a steelhead
I
guy.
hate steelhead.
You guys hooked like 15 that day, and you still
We
didn't
hooked
like it.
16, just to be clear.
16?
Whatever.
That's not a good
I
day.
spent the day in the trees because I was like, Ted, I can't get it over
You
there,
just
Ted.
suck at it. It's not.
Ted, I can't get it in that hole, Ted.
Oh God.
God.
Oh, you should keep fishing with Ted.
I
Not go with.
know.
Don't go with me.
I'm coming with you
No.
next to tangle your gear.
Nah, we're plug
No,
fishing.
I
for
really
sure.
hate. I used to love steelhead fishing, and it's really like a special thing when you hook one because they're so hard to catch.
Well, that's the argument I've been making for years. Steelhead fishermen, if you can steelhead fish and sled guide, way better fishing guide.
Yeah.
Well, you can do both.
Whoa.
The steelhead guy and the salmon guy, a lot of times they're two different people.
They are two totally
That's why it's really
tunes.
hard to be good at both.
Hey, it is actually a pretty special. I quit steelhead fishing 5 years ago. No, 6 years ago.
It's easy. You just got to be a crappy parent.
But they're also
a terrible employee and a bad husband. You can be a great fisherman. It's a hard job.
He just said it.
It's a hard job to do.
This guy has said it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But I'd say half of all these guys are steelhead and salmon.
Yeah, the majority
at least, right? At least half.
Yeah.
Maybe more than that.
Yeah.
But, the thing I like, and I love salmon, but I love it when all the steelhead guys that salmon fish just disappear.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
Somebody catches a shit.
Oh boy, you've seen springers start to get caught.
Oh,
and then everybody on Facebook is just like, "Hey, there's springers everywhere. Go get them!" And all the steelhead guys are like,
"Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've been steelhead fishing." I look at my friend and we're like, "Well, where is everybody?" Oh, salmon.
Well, April's one of the better months.
But it fishes.
It fishes great. It's
winter steelhead is
warmer weather.
Really good all the way through.
Winter steelhead fish is great. Well, and if you guys think about like the Wilson, the Trask, well, not so much Trask, but the broodstock rivers, they're taking these are wild fish. There are more fish in April than people think. And
for real.
Because I have people tell me all the time, they're like, "Oh, are you done here?" I mean, man, when I used to live in Tillamook before I ran a sled and did this whole program, I fished until the middle of April, no problem.
Yeah,
bright fish.
Chrome.
Very nice bright fish, not a problem.
Just coming into spawn.
Yeah, they're just different. Just different timed.
Yep.
Plenty of them in there.
So you're gonna be starting down in the channel or what?
No, I'm gonna be starting I'm in the Longview area. I'll be fishing the lower river. I like to fish down low because I can access like 4 runs of fish. Down low you've got the Columbia, the Willamette fish. They're all down there, but then you also got Cowlitz stock. And
that's a lot.
And Lewis stock, they're all down in the lower river, and that's really hard to do because you got to drive. And driving is a thing where you got to just trailer your boat. It's not like we're in Astoria at Buoy 10. It's just it's not like that. It's just different.
And it's funny because
we're traveling every day.
Josiah catches them in the channel, and you can almost know where they're going just by looking at them.
It's pretty legit.
I'll get them super different shapes.
Upriver bright.
Yep.
2 fish laying right next to her in my box, and they don't even look like the same species.
Yep.
One's green with huge
black spots. One's green with big spots.
One's bright
and
purple and chrome.
Very little, and it's blinging this chrome. It's just crazy.
I don't know what the difference is, but I know they both taste good. Yep. And I will whack them in the head if they do not have a fin.
That's right.
And it makes everyone in the boat high five.
Or if that fin is like missing a little couple things.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Lots of flat tops.
A lot of the misclips, and misclips are an actual thing that the departments want you to kill.
So if it's got that little, it looks like a finger with
it's about a thumb, but you'll find them that are just
flat.
It's just a sharp buzz cut, but it's still hanging on.
Yeah, because Chinook have a nice fat adipose.
It's pretty obvious.
Every
once in a while you'll see one that's about that big, and you're like, that's wild. We're throwing that one back. Sorry, can't do anything about it. But luckily we don't have to do it that much for spring. I think last year I only got like 2 or 3 wild ones. I got out of however many I got, which was actually a pretty dang good year. I only had a handful.
Oh really?
Not nearly as many. Like I kept getting lucky. Maybe I just looked at the wrong fin.
On this year's summer return, and this is what I was talking about, the age class. Last year's age class, I don't know if you guys remember, last year's age class averaged, it was a 2 and 3 year old return. And every time that we start seeing that, and they do that by creel, which actually does get really it's really involved. It kind of sucks, don't get me wrong. But this year, this next age class, every time they notice that taking place, that means the next year you have a average that will skip a year and go to the next year's big fish.
Bigger.
So we're looking at 5 and 6 year olds as being the majority of the returns, and that's kind of a big deal. It may not be like this huge ginormous amount of them, but the overall average of these fish is going to be significantly bigger.
So I think
and that's what we're after. This is why I'm like, hey, we should all switch over to 50-pound. You heard it here first.
And, I don't know if it was Buzz that told me this, or it might have been someone else, or maybe I thought it up. Probably Buzz. I don't want to take credit for anything. But, we're putting all these smolts out in the ocean right now. And, literally, the more of these smolts we put out, those fish are going to turn into those 4 or 5 year fish. If we don't put many fish out, the percentage all changes. It all goes down. It goes down. The algorithm changes. Goes down. Yes. Everything changes. Granted, the ocean has to be in a cold condition. But the more fish that we plant, the more chances we're going to get those big, huge fish that everybody likes to catch, that everybody talks about, that shows these old pictures of, right?
There's nothing better, and I don't get very many big ones anymore, but there's nothing better than a mid 20s big full size Columbia Springer. Some of those things, when you see them in the water, especially in the Columbia, we can see a little ways down.
That's a good one. Okay,
that's a good one. Yeah,
it looks like
nobody
panic. Nobody panic.
Nobody breathe.
It looks like
everybody just sit down.
Let's head into like a cage fight. You're like, look at that thing. Oh my
gosh. Those are different.
It's got tattoos on it.
And the Springers are different. I was talking about this. I have a group text with all the boys that were kind of in our little salmon camp, and it's kind of funny because no one really I could say, I caught 6 steelhead today. No one really cares. If you said he caught 7 Springers today,
they're gonna be like,
it's a big deal. Those fish are, we just hold them in a different regard. They're just the crown jewel. They're special. They're absolutely the most special fish that we fish for. They taste the best. They're the hardest to catch. Everything about them is difficult. The weather sucks sometimes. The fish are hard to get to bite. They're
cold, wet, miserable fishing.
Gosh, when you get one, they're just the absolute dude.
Awesome. There's a reason they're called kings. I mean, historically they used to be 90, 100-pound fish.
They do make some big ones.
And just tight, strong, hard fighting, like a dog, like a pit bull. I mean, just dig.
Did you guys? We forgot to note that the Oregon City fishery this year is going to be difficult because they're expanding
the bridge.
That 205 bridge. So fishing in the garbage hole and above 205 bridge and the lake line is going to be really probably not allowed this year. They haven't made this rule yet. I don't even know what the Coast Guard did. They went and reset a bunch of buoys. And that's basically they created this little channel, and that's where a boat is going to be allowed to navigate through the construction to be able to access the falls, but no fishing will probably take place in the garbage hole or above 205 bridge in the lake line. That's just going to be, that's a huge area
when you take your boat through, there will be a toll. So keep that in mind.
Toll fishing is toll. Tolls on 205.
I don't like that. I don't care that it's closed because I don't fish up there. But I want everyone
to turn into the East Coast.
Yeah, I know.
What's going on?
Seattle has tolls, and I got a little picture flashy when I was up there a couple weeks ago.
Well, pay your toll.
I paid a toll. I didn't even know I got
skate.
I don't know. Are you gonna throw change across the lane or a little scan?
I don't know. They scan your license plate and send you a bill.
You're gonna get a bill.
I already did. It was like $5 to drive a 2-mile stretch of Seattle. I was like,
I'll pay you $5 to not have to drive in Seattle.
Well, the bridge needed to be widened a long time ago. Yep. And don't even ask me why 217 is finally getting widened after 20 years. That should have been done a long time ago.
What a mess.
So these are all good things for the most part.
Yeah.
So, this traffic does suck. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, right, Lucas? You got stuck going across the 205 bridge.
Oh, yeah.
Really made it. Yeah. And that could be because of the bridge in Oregon City, believe it or not. Maybe not that far back. But
oh, yeah.
It could be. Is it?
We'll wait until they have to widen the Tualatin River crossing sections, which has to happen. Oh. That's a whole nother mess coming our way.
Fun. So I think we're kind of winding down here.
We got till April 7th. And
I forgot to add that,
we
were going to give away this Lammy Glass rod. It's a twitching rod, so it's kind of a little off season. But you can also you can trout fish with it. You could spoon fish for steelhead, hardware.
Fish with this. Why are you fishing with this?
Steelhead, you can swing
there
hardware.
My twitching rods are also bottom fishing rods.
So this rod right here
Like 8 to 15.
is also part of all of this stuff right here. Which I don't even know. This is definitely over $100 worth of stuff.
To sea basses.
Maybe $150 worth of stuff here, guys. Something like
Dude,
that.
look at all this stuff.
And this stuff,
$170.
this stuff is great. So I don't know, Lucas, how many steelhead have you caught with coon shrimp?
A lot more than I deserve. That coon shrimp has been so good for me on the Lower Columbia. It's not even funny.
This is the good
Oh,
stuff.
banking it, huh?
And we're gonna have Landon in here and
too.
talk to him all about what he does, and he runs a tugboat. Actually, that's his main thing. But really nice guy. We were joking that he's gonna die like 4 F-250 bed loads of this stuff in the next like 3 or 6 months or something like that.
That's a big deal. Well, summer steelhead. Sockeye. Sockeye. Dude, sockeye knocked the crap out of those things.
I used an entire jar of coon shrimp one day this year on anchor. I bet we hooked 50.
Was that when you came up from Astoria?
No.
Oh.
It's pretty good fishing. If you look around, you can find them. But boy, when you get where they're going by, it's real good fishing.
Boy, I've had a couple of days there where you're like 30 deep and you're like, holy crap, I can't keep up.
I'm going to run out of shrimp.
Yeah.
Like, that's really what's going to happen. I'm going to run out of shrimp.
So to enter to win, just comment. You can comment anytime. Right now is always good. Do we have any comments, Lucas? Or questions?
Oh yeah, we got
good?
comments, and one person asked, "How about Astoria area hatcheries? Any insight on that? Anybody know anything about Astoria area hatcheries? They do have those spring Chinook.
So they're net pen fish, and most of those are actually planted to be commercially harvested. Like the Youngs Bay one, the back to the Clatskanie, and Big Creek and Ack Creek. They go up in those, and they get them in blind slough and stuff. Not to knock that bad, but I used to catch them when I was a kid because it was not that far from my house. They don't cut like Willamette or Columbia fish because they don't have the fat because they're not made to go as far.
Yeah.
They're only going a mile out the river. There's bigger than you can roll.
There are springer hatcheries down there.
You can get them, and the water's black. There's a lot of them in some places.
Up the Youngs River, there's hatcheries. There's also Big Creek, Nat Creek, and those also produce Tules, which is a 4-letter bad word.
Exactly what I was going to bring up.
Yep.
Tules. So
Big,
technically,
huge.
Bill, maybe you're more aware of what they are, where they go than I am. But what they tell us there's this little creek somewhere or someplace where they just aren't getting the number that they need. And
so we're talking about Tules.
Do you know the specific? I mean, it's probably not even a place that's open for fishing. But
well, when we look at Tules are a fall returning Chinook. Okay, we have this thing called the Pacific Salmon Treaty. The Pacific Salmon Treaty is so convoluted that it has all these certain subsections, and that everybody has to be able to operate within the Pacific Salmon Treaty constraints. Okay, we have an agreement with Canada. It's called the US v Canada. Oregon has specifically agreed if we need to raise a certain number of Thule Chinook in the fall and to have this return be completely managed and untouchable for a certain period. And they agree in turn not to wipe out our spring Chinook stocks. Our spring Chinook stocks, as you know, are coveted to us. When we see a Thule Chinook in the fall, though, we're just like, get that crap away from me. I don't want that fish.
Smoker.
But sometimes when you catch a fish in the fall, everybody's just like, yeah, we're catching fish left and right. Let's kill them all.
Oh, I mean, everybody's killed it too.
And so that's what happens in the fall. We got Tules that come back in good enough numbers, and we kill so many that we've come real close to an extrapolation point in violating the US v Canada.
So and what you're saying is it's not necessary. It's more of a deal that we worked.
It's a very poor deal for us.
It's a very tough. It's not a poor deal for us because we guarantee our spring Chinook returns. You got to think about this. When our springers are coming back, the Canadians pull their fleet out of the waters. We're like, okay, cool, we'll let this go. You know, we won't go after spring Chinook stocks because they're gonna raise all these Thule's for us, and we can go in when we can get after. Now, Thule Chinook up in Canada waters are prime fish. They're actually in really good shape up there. They're silver, they're big, they're fat, they're full of fat. They love them up in Canada. That's a Thule. When we see a Thule, though, in the lower Columbia or just outside the ocean,
it's ripe.
It's garbage, or it's still silver and it has huge leopard spots, but it's not anything that we want on the inside. Sometimes it cuts mildly good, and we're just like, oh, what a great pink kind of opaque fish. And we're going to smoke that.
So
I don't know. That's really hard.
Probably the biggest complaint that I hear from just everybody, not just guides, but just sports fishermen, is the fact that they keep closing Labor Day weekend. And then historically, that was usually open.
Correct.
And I know, you get so many boats down there and so many fishermen, and I don't know, in the course of a day, thousands of fish can get caught. But, that's a tough hit. I get it. I'm not, like I said,
super difficult.
I'm just saying it so everybody's aware. And people drive down. Well, people make plans, like in Washington, Idaho, all over the place. I mean, other side of the country, they might want to make plans to come out here to fish that specifically. And then it gets closed, and it's just a really difficult situation and frustrating for a lot of people. Anyway. And
we're on a Thule issue now for 10, maybe 12 years, maybe 15 years, right? Mm-hmm. And we cannot figure out a way to guarantee this ginormous surplus of Thules. We haven't been able to do it, so we have to manage these fisheries per federal guidelines. Otherwise, remember, the feds will come in and literally say you are violating your portion of the PST. You're done managing fisheries. We're going to take over. That's bad.
So does Bonneville,
we don't want that.
Is Bonneville raising Thules?
Bonneville raises Thules. There are Thules that go above Bonneville up into the Spring Creek Hatchery in the Hood River Zone that we actually got to experience last year. So when those Thules aren't in trouble.
When people hear Lower River,
River Thules are the ones that are in trouble.
Even above Bonneville, not like the lower 5 miles in the river.
Yeah. It's all below Bonneville. It's called the LRH segments, and we have to protect them. Yeah.
Well, so technically, Save the Whales could possibly get these Thule numbers up so high, it's not even going to be a concern, right? Is that possible?
It's more than just saving orcas, though. Orcas are now a real factor. But when you look at what the humanity, like communities, like grocery, whatever, what humans need to survive and create some type of opportunity for recreation, we need hatcheries.
Yeah.
It's no question. We have been pushing for hatcheries forever, and now look at, we are beyond points of rewilding the Columbia or rewilding the Willamette. It's too much. We've ruined a little bit too much. Hatcheries are the key to just about everything.
And there is a lot of restorations taking place.
We are still on huge habitat restoration issues.
But we can never take it back. We just can't. It's just not going to happen.
It's too. It's just so huge. Mm-hmm. The encompassing to try and fathom it is just like, whoa, holy moly. I don't know.
Yes, it is.
Tough stuff.
Pretty good stuff.
Any other questions, Lucas? Anything else back there? Like something really big, end of the world.
Are we now seeing the results of brood stocking upriver brights?
Not yet.
No.
Not yet, but that's coming.
No.
That would be a really good idea.
That's what's coming.
Like, stronger fish, bigger fish, maybe.
I mean, you guys have seen King of the Reach tournament, right?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, the King of the Reach tournament basically takes Upriver Brights
hasn't that been kind
and spawns them a little bit, kind of brood, stocky like.
Yeah.
Well, they're doing the coho.
It works a little bit,
Coho, they're doing the brood thing.
but not fully yet.
In
Yeah.
some places.
Yeah.
But
Have you seen-
that would be a really, great thing to do, and the survival rates would probably go up a little bit.
PGE's Project on the Clackamas for Coho. That's pretty phenomenal. What a great program PGE has done for the Clackamas River on Coho.
Yeah, a couple years ago it had the most
They had
epic
record
return they'd ever
returns
seen.
of coho they've never even seen coming back, and you're seeing the life cycles of all of their work starting to show.
Yep.
So good stuff.
Cool.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for watching tonight, everybody. Sorry I had to move it back a couple days, but honestly,
I'm the problem.
We had
These
issues.
guys, so it's all good. Life. Yeah. You know what? People are more important than this show. I'll say that out loud. If something happens to somebody in my family,
Yep.
I'm gone. So, thanks for watching, and I think our next guest is going to be Brandon Weedham. He owns
BNR.
he and his brother own BNR Tackle, and he's going to be here next Tuesday. I hope he's watching, because now he has to be here, and I don't have to make excuses.
Next
Tuesday night at 6:30, and like I said, I'd love to have a schedule for this, but it's just too much, and I don't want to force it, because really I can't talk here for 2 hours all by myself. As much as I'd love to,
We'll see Brandon Glass. We'll see Cody Herman coming up. Maybe the same day. Might do the three of us and just do that one. Just have fun with that one. That'd actually be a pretty good time. But there'll be a couple other good ones coming up. Once we're springer fishing, we're not going to the coast. I'm not going to the coast.
Yeah, we got more time.
We got a little bit more time. Yeah, there'll be some really good ones coming up the next few months.
A lot of traveling, and like I said, this is about just meeting these guys, getting to know them, getting to know me.
That's awesome.
And just making it fun, and just sharing.
And STS Magazine.
Yeah.
Been around forever and ever.
Look at me. I don't even plug our brand here.
Come on.
But don't forget to subscribe to the magazine. You go to our website and subscribe online. Actually, I've got a video that I was just working on with Brandon and Randy Bonner. They went fishing to the Secret River, because I know they're very quiet about this stuff. Low light, big noise. Close-in cameras.
So don't say it out loud.
Yeah, so don't say it out loud. Everybody can guess, right? It's somewhere in Washington.
It's
I
awesome.
think. It's probably Cold River someplace. But all right, thanks for watching. Lucas, just go to that right screen and hit the stop, whatever it says over there where the Facebook link is. You got it?
Got her.
Cool beans.
Sweet.
How easy was that?
I don't know. I like making a mess on your table, though. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I'm glad we got this whole thing here.
Ended the live video. I'm
It's
gonna hit
okay.
stop
You know what?
recording.
I dropped